technical issues, make sure to write us in the chat and we'll try to help you out as quickly as we can. Donc, je vois que Wonny est installé avec les premiers participants. Je passe la parole.
Alors, merci Geneviève. Bonjour tout le monde. C'est vraiment un immense plaisir pour moi de vous accueillir et surtout d'accueillir et échanger avec nos demi-finalistes de déjà la 5e édition du Prix Orford Musique. Ce concours mais particulièrement très, très cher car il nous permet non seulement de découvrir ces merveilleux musiciens, mais aussi leur personnalité, leur passe-temps, toute la passion derrière toute cette belle musique. Alors, j'ai très hâte à les connaître davantage avec vous. Et je crois que Noel Wang, Joshua Wang et Brian Yu sont présents. So, hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. We will start with the presentations for the three of you, and then we'll discuss a little bit for a brief 3 minutes of a little Q&A. With you guys. So Noel, we'll start with you. So can you please present yourself, please?
Hello, my name is Noelle. I am a harpist and I'm coming to you today from Toronto. So one thing about me is I'm a professor at the Don Wright Faculty of Music at Western University in London, Ontario. So that's actually where I live. I'm just visiting Toronto today. So as a musician, I identify really strongly as an academic as well as a performer. And one thing that I'm really proud of that I did this summer was I published an article about philosophy and the harp music of a French avant-garde composer named Georges Aperdis. So learning is really important to me. I would definitely identify as a lifelong learner, as a musician, and in everyday life. The world is just, there's so many fascinating and really interesting things. So I'm looking forward to showing that in my music and hopefully in the questions I'm going to be asked today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Joshua.
Hi, my name is Joshua. I'm from Calgary. Currently, I'm in Montreal right now, and I'm a pianist. I think I'm a musician because I simply love the music that was written for the piano. I find it really rewarding to communicate to audiences, and I think it's extremely rewarding when they're able to understand what I'm trying to say and what I love about the music. Yeah, some things I like to do outside of music are sports, especially. I like playing basketball, volleyball. I try not to hurt my hands. I also like watching sports. Yeah, I'm just excited to come to Orford this year.
Great, thanks so much, Joshua. And we'll finish this period with Brian.
Hi, my name is Brian Yoon, and I'm a cellist. I am currently in Victoria, BC. My most proud achievement as a musician is winning the Eckhart Grammatik competition in 2012. I'm a musician because I want to be part of a creative process that gives our lives meaning. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. So I guess we'll start with Noel. We'll have a little Q&A, just very, very casual and everything. So Noel, what is your favorite thing about your musical career?
I think my favorite thing about my musical career so far has been being finished with school. I was in school for 10 years and I finally received my doctorate last year. So it was really rewarding to go through that. But now I love the fact that I'm free and I can explore, different options as a musician, both in classical, as a teacher, anything else experimental.
Right. And what does it mean for you to take part in a competition such as the Prix Orford Musique?
So I guess, one of the things that I wrote was that I'm actually not Canadian by birth. I moved to Canada 2 years ago, right before the pandemic. So, during the pandemic, everything shut down and it was really hard to start a career in a new country. And so what's really special about coming to Orford is that it's in a way, you know, kind of like my professional debut since moving to this country. And I think I'm just really glad that Orford is the place that I get to do to like start my musical journey here.
Awesome. And I'm sure you travel quite a bit. Can you tell us maybe one the most rewarding trip that you've ever taken?
I think in recent years, the most rewarding trip that I've taken is a cross-country road trip from Vermont through Ontario to California, which is where I'm from. And it was just really amazing to see the landscape change. You know, when you're driving, it's a really different experience than when you're flying. And just, you know, we were driving through the US, but to watch, you know, it go from really, really flat Midwest to suddenly you start to see mountains. You know, like the first mountain you see is amazing because, you know, you drive for 10 hours and it's all flat, and then the first mountain shows up and you're really excited. And also, you know, I was just really, you know, awed by the diverse landscapes, but also just, you know, really feeling, you know, the diversity of a country like the US where, you know, different, you know, politically, socially, things change as you drive through. And so that was a really transformative trip for me.
And if you would have 3 words to describe it, what would it be?
I would say inquisitive, independent, and I'm a little bit quick-witted. So watch your back.
And we'll finish with one last question. If we ever came for dinner, what would you cook for us?
So my cultural background is Taiwanese, so I would cook you a Taiwanese feast with some of my mom's Taiwanese braised pork and some sticky rice dumplings.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Noah. It's been fun. Let's go with Joshua. Hey, Joshua.
Hi.
Good. So tell us why you chose your instrument.
Well, I think the piano I think it's a really unique instrument because you can play so many lines and it can imitate like a lot of other things like vocal music, orchestral music. Yeah, I think there's a lot of options and things you can do on the piano.
How long has it been that you studied the piano for?
Well, I started when I was 6, and so 12 years.
12 years. And I'll probably ask the same question as Noel. What does it mean to be part of a competition such as the Prix Orford Musique for you?
Well, I think it's a huge opportunity for me because I can perform for people, and like also like it'll allow me to perform for larger audiences and have opportunities. If I were to get a prize, I think, yeah, I'm just excited to come here and perform for the first time in a year, honestly.
Yeah, it's quite an event. And what is the most Canadian thing about you?
Well, I really like watching hockey. It's always been like something I'm passionate about, like the Calgary Flames.
Oh, you're a Calgary Flames.
Yeah, this is where I'm from. I've always been a fan since I was young. Yeah, that's probably the most Canadian thing.
What is your favorite thing about your musical career?
Well, I think being able to travel across places in the world and getting to meet people, learn from people, and have opportunities to perform in like unique spots around the world. Yeah.
If you were to have coffee with any composer, who do you think it would be?
Robert Schumann, because I think I find his music so intimate and personal, and I feel like there's he's like one of my favorite composers, and I find that he has a lot to say through the piano, and yeah, I just like to know him as a person better, and yeah.
what is the first thing you think about when you wake up?
First thing I think about. Well, I don't think I think about the same thing every day. It's probably just something that's on my mind. I could say music most of the time. Uh, yeah, not too sure.
Awesome. And to finish, maybe just name one thing that's still remains in your bucket list of things to do.
Definitely it'd be to like travel to Australia or somewhere that's quite unique. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joshua. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Brian, how are you?
And thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. What was the most important day of your life? Can you describe that?
Well, that'll be my wedding day, which was in 2015 in December.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. And if you were to offer your younger self some advice, what would it be?
To buy some Tesla shares and Bitcoin.
Very good. Do you remember a favorite dish from your childhood?
Yeah, my mother used to make a spicy garlic fried chicken dish called ganpungi. It's kind of a fusion between Korean and Chinese styles. So that's something I don't get to have anymore that I can't find. Well, I can't find anything that's as good as what my mother used to make.
I see. Do you have any pre-concert rituals?
I usually take a nap.
You take a nap right before your concert?
Well, not right before, although I have overslept my nap before and had to wake up and rush to the concert hall. But usually it's about, I would say 2 hours before the concert. It's like a 15-minute nap that I usually take.
Oh my God. We'll make sure that we'll have someone to wake you up while you're here in the competition.
Thanks.
What do you like to do in your free time?
I'm not sure that I have much free time to speak of, but usually at the end of the day, I'm unwinding with a beer.
And if we came over for dinner, I'm sure you're a wonderful cook. What would you cook for us?
I would cook a beef stew. It's beef daube. It's a beef stew with red wine, orange peel, and olives that I've made a couple of times and had success.
Awesome. And you said you were Korean, right? So can you tell us the origin of your name, the meaning?
My name, Brian. I think I took it off a list, or it was suggested to me. I wasn't given very many options. My Korean name is Chang-ho, which I can tell you what they mean. It's each character means something a little different, though. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to say that, give you the correct information. So yeah, and Yoon is my family name, of course.
Yoon, awesome. And which country would you like to visit one day that you haven't been to?
Probably Spain. I've been to most European countries, but Spain has, that's been eluding me. So that's probably on my next European trip.
Is it because of the food? Is it because of the culture? Is it because of things to
both
see?
Both culture and food. And I know a couple of people there. Actually, one of the teachers at Orford, Mr. Claret, is from Spain. So, he's told me a lot about, in my master classes with him, the time that I spent in his master classes, he talked a lot about Spain. So I would like to visit and get to know, experience it myself.
Awesome. Last question. Do you have any irrational fears?
Yeah. Yes. I'm constantly in fear of tripping over my cello, just constantly. I have this fear that I'm going to trip and land, on top of my instrument. And, any stairs that I see, even just walking, I'm afraid that I'm going to slip my feet are gonna slip or grip the ground unexpectedly, and then I'm just gonna trip over myself and onto my instrument.
Do you have the same fear as Yo-Yo Mob of forgetting your cello in a taxi cab in New York or something like that?
I've not forgotten my instrument. I don't think I've ever forgotten my instrument. Although I have forgotten I've gotten as far as the elevator in my building without my instrument, but never gone to a concert or rehearsal without it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. It's been fun. Geneviève, je te passe pour peut-être des questions du public s'il y a des questions.
Oui. So for the participants, we're going to have a bit of a speed round of questions. So don't think about it too much, just some quick questions. So we have one for Noel. Would you consider yourself more of an introvert or extrovert?
I'm actually an introvert, but I've been told I come off as an extrovert.
That's funny. Joshua, who is your favorite non-classical musician?
I don't
Or
have
singer.
too many. Sorry?
Or singer?
Oh, yeah. I don't have too many non-favorite classical musicians, but I'd say it's I don't really have any favorite.
It's just Schumann all day, every day. That's fine. I respect it. Brian, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
To know what other people are thinking.
Oh, that's powerful. That's scary powerful, actually. Noelle, what is on your screensaver or your phone wallpaper?
Lots and lots of pictures of my cat.
And then for Joshua, do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have one brother and one sister.
And how do you get along?
I
Go
think we
ahead.
get along pretty well. Maybe like back then, maybe 10 years ago or when we were younger, we'd fight a bit more, but no, I think we get along well. But they're both older, so yeah, I'm the smallest. So.
Okay, great. And Brian, do you have a favorite ice cream flavor?
Maybe green tea.
Interesting. Bold choice. Great. So I think that was all the questions we had for now. Oh, we have one last one for Noelle. Do you identify to any animal? Like, is there an animal you really identify with?
Yes, I have a couple, but they're all kind of inside jokes between me and my husband. But one of them is an albatross. It has the largest wingspan of any bird, and I have very long arms, so that's one of the things.
Okay. And okay, I think that was it for the questions. Thank you so much for taking part in this. We're really happy to get to know you better.
Alors, merci Geneviève. On va donc accueillir pour cette deuxième partie le pianiste Vincent View, la violoniste Isabella Perron et le pianiste Kevin Afat et le violoniste Julia Mirtsoev. So, hi everybody. I hope that everybody's coming on. So I guess we'll start with the presentations. So Vincent, maybe you could start.
Hi, Wonny. I prepared it in French, if that's okay.
That's fine. That's awesome.
Yeah, the intro. Okay, so they could turn off like the captions or whatever it is. Okay. So, mais après, est-ce qu'on peut continuer le reste de la présentation en anglais parce que on est sur un live stream et je suis vraiment stressé de m'embarrasser.
C'est super.
Ok. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Vincent, j'ai 22 ans et je suis pianiste. Je viens de Montréal, mais il y a 6 ans, ma famille a déménagé en Ontario. L'année dernière, j'ai complété mon baccalauréat en musique à l'Université de Montréal avec Dan Tyson. Et maintenant, j'étudie à l'école Glenn Gould à Toronto avec John O'Connor pour mon diplôme d'artiste. Je suis très excité de jouer pour vous à Orford parce que ça fait 5 ans depuis ma première année d'études en 2016. J'ai développé une condition neurologique appelée focodystonia. C'est un résultat de stress et de surménage et mon cerveau a perdu le contrôle de ma main droite. Pour plus d'un an, je ne pouvais pas de tout ouvrir ma main et c'était coincé comme ça. Cette condition a terminé la carrière de nombreux musiciens qui sont affectés parce qu'il n'y a pas de remède et tous les médecins m'ont dit qu'ils ne sont pas sûrs si je serais jamais capable de jouer encore. Et donc je n'avais pas d'autre choix que de quitter mes études en musique et poursuivre un autre domaine. Miraculeusement, 2 ans plus tard, ma main a commencé à améliorer et j'ai décidé de reprendre mes études en musique, bien que j'étais seulement capable de jouer de répertoire lent ou répertoire pour la main gauche. Présentement, je ne suis pas encore complètement récupéré, mais cette année, je suis finalement capable de jouer de répertoires plus exigeants. Et donc, ma performance à Orford sera ma première performance devant un public en 6 ans. J'avais 17 ans quand j'ai développé cette condition parce que j'étais tellement stressé de savoir si je vais réussir dans ce domaine. Mais pendant les 2 ans que je n'étais pas capable de jouer de tout, je me suis promis que si jamais je suis capable de jouer encore, je vais penser à rien qu'à de profiter de chaque moment de la musique et que j'ai choisi de faire de la musique seulement parce que c'est ma passion.
Super, bravo Vincent. On va enchaîner avec Isabella.
Oui, bonjour. Je m'appelle Isabella Perron. Je joue du violon. Ici pour la compétition, mais je joue aussi de l'alto. J'ai joué du piano toute ma vie aussi, puis j'aime beaucoup chanter. Alors, je me considère plus comme une musicienne qu'une violoniste. Je viens d'une famille de musiciens. Ma mère joue du violoncelle, j'ai 2 sœurs qui jouent du violoncelle et du violon, d'alto aussi. Alors, j'ai été entourée de musique toute ma vie, c'est vraiment... c'est ma vie. Puis en ce moment, je suis au Domaine Forget, le festival pour 4 semaines. Et j'étudie à l'école Glenn Gould aussi avec Erika Raum. Et j'ai passé la moitié de ma vie, je pense, à Montréal. Mais je suis née en Floride, en fait, aux États-Unis. Puis ensuite, je suis déménagée à Montréal vers 5 ans. Puis ma mère, ensuite, en 2012, elle a eu un poste comme professeur au Mount Royal Conservatory in Calgary. Alors, c'est là que j'ai commencé à passer de 2012 à 2017. J'ai étudié à Mount Royal Conservatory avec Bill Vandersloot. Puis, j'ai tombé en amour avec les montagnes, les vraies montagnes. Ouais, puis j'aime beaucoup passer du temps dans la nature de Colombie-Britannique.
Super. Bien, merci beaucoup Isabella. Kevin.
Okay, hello everyone. Bonjour à tous. Je suis très heureux de vous rencontrer ce soir. Je m'appelle Kevin Afat, j'ai 26 ans et je suis pianiste et maintenant je suis chez moi à Toronto. Je parle français assez bien, mais c'est un peu rouillé maintenant. C'est un peu plus confortable pour moi à faire le reste en anglais. Mais je viens d'une famille francophone. My family is from a small island called Mauritius, l'île Maurice, a French Creole-speaking island on the east coast of Madagascar. So I've always been surrounded by French sounds and culture, and I have lots of family in Montreal and Laval also. Just a bit about my musical journey. I actually moved back to Canada just a few years ago in 2018 after spending many years in the States where I grew up and did my main studies. And I've really loved just being back in my hometown of Toronto. And it's been absolutely great to also be back, I think, and sort of reintegrated into the Canadian arts community, which is really such a true community, I find. Since I've spent a lot of time in the States. And I would say that especially over this past chunk of time, we've all had to sort of ponder the why of music making. And for me, it's always been, and it's always come down to the simple joy and love of expression and of sharing it, which we haven't been able to do, of course, for some time. But it's really amazing, I think, when we encounter those reminders that our music making can be so really life-changing for many people, and it so often I think gives people a reason to be happy or sad, or to celebrate and dance, or really almost simply it gives people a reason to live. So I have to always remember that we're always really privileged to have a chance to make that happen for whoever might be listening.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We'll finish with Julia. Oh, is Julia there? I think we might have lost her. Is she there? Oh, okay.
Hi, sorry about that. The video would not start, but
no problem, no problem.
Bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Julia, je suis violoniste. J'ai 24 ans. J'ai étudié le français à l'école, mais maintenant je vais parler en anglais car je n'ai pas préparé tout le script en français. Mais je vais essayer pour le vidéo plus tard. So, my name is Julia. I'm a violinist, and I am very, very excited to be part of this competition because the Orford Music Festival was one of the first places where I actually felt very independent as a musician. I also come from a musical family. My mother plays piano, teaches piano. My father plays and teaches violin. My brother played a lot of piano, and my grandmother also played and taught a lot of piano. So I've also been surrounded by music my whole life, but it always felt like I was, part of something not quite independent until I kind of went out on my own. And Orford was a place where in 2015, 2016, where I felt like I was discovering the joy and passion for music and for sharing music with the public on my own, rather than anything having to do with my family or my parents. So that was special for me. And I always feel like the audience, the culture in Orford and other places in Quebec is very appreciative, and it's very crucial to the culture here to always have music be a big part of the culture. And I actually now live in Montreal. I did my bachelor degree in Toronto, where I am from, and then I moved to Connecticut to do master's at Yale University, and now I'm at McGill studying with Andrew Wan. And I have to say that I really appreciate, the culture of Montreal and the opportunities. Even during COVID, it was I felt that this was one of the cities that tried their absolute best to keep putting on concerts, whether or not there's very limited seating and whatnot. I was still able to see my teachers perform and things like that. So being able to finally perform here in person, this is the first competition in person that I'm doing in a few years now. So this is very special for me, and I'm excited to reconnect with the Orford public.
Thank you so much, Julia. It's welcome to the Prix Orford Musique. So we'll start with Vincent with a little brief Q&A. Vincent, you were talking about this dystonia. Is it the sickness that Leon Fleischer had? Is that...
Yeah, exactly. Him, Gary Graffman, they all had this same thing, right?
Right.
But I was lucky because, they're unlucky. During that time, no one knew what that was, right? But over time now, like the research got better, so I was able to. They know more about like neurological conditions, and so I found a specialist that helped me like relearn every little movement in the hand, and it took a long time, but I managed to finally open up the hand, and then I was learning how to lift each finger up, and it took a few years, but. Luckily, this year I'm able to play decent repertoire. For the past like 3 years, I was just playing slow lyrical pieces in school, but now I'm getting better still. So
that's quite an ordeal. And did it happen like very like suddenly, or is it something that you just kind of saw that was deteriorating from time?
Yeah, because I was my first year of undergrad, I was 16, living on my own, and I was just so stressed about everything. So it's accumulation of that and just overworking, like you're repeating, and like the brain just fried up. And I think like my hand just lost control. I felt it coming, but I didn't know what dystonia was, right? I was like, I could fight through this. Like, my pride took over, and that happened. So
Yeah. Why did you choose the piano anyway?
Well, I like the piano because, you know, the repertoire is so vast and it can create so many different images and colors, right? But you know, also when I'm in the mood to play an orchestral work like a Beethoven symphony or something, I can play a transcription for it, and the piano can imitate like a whole orchestra. And
Right.
same goes for like an opera transcription. But obviously, when I was younger, my mom just put me in it, but that's why I like it now.
Like every other Asian
Yeah.
playing the piano. What's the craziest place that you've ever performed?
Performed. Probably when I played in a concert, you know, at the Kremlin for in Moscow for the First Lady of Russia and the Queen of Belgium. Because what stressed me out wasn't the performance. It was like there were so many of those like Russian Secret Service agents or whatever, and they had their earpieces in, and like I was so I was like, can I sit on this chair, or are they gonna like throw me to the ground or something? I don't know.
And if you could pick like maybe three people to have dinner with their whole life, who would you choose to have dinner with?
This one's good. First, LeBron James, like definitely LeBron James. If I could only choose one, it's LeBron 100%. This guy's like my idol. Second, I would say Schubert because he's my favorite composer. And when he was alive, his music was not celebrated like it is today, right? So he died without knowing that his music would be celebrated as he would be one of the greatest composers in history.
Right.
And third, I don't know, like probably Jesus Christ or something. I don't know. That would be cool.
Because you're religious, or?
No, not really. I mean, not really, but like if he was an actual person, I would love to just have dinner with him. Like it'd be cool.
Awesome. And what's your favorite movie of all time?
Your favorite movies? I don't have a one movie, but I could narrow it down. Like any of the Rush Hour movies or any of the Toy Story movies. Those are great.
Awesome. And if we came over for dinner, what would you cook for us?
Honestly, I don't cook like that. So if we're coming over, you'll get a nicely prepared pack of like instant ramen or craft dinner or something.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vincent. It's been a lot of fun.
Alright,
Isabella. Bonjour, Isabella.
Salut!
Salut, Isabella. On te connaît très bien ici à Orford Musique. T'es venu souvent ici à Orford, non? Combien d'étés as-tu passé chez nous?
De 2014 à 2018 ou 19. Mais il y a une année que je suis pas venue.
OK. C'est quoi l'endroit le plus fou que tu as joué?
Ben, en fait, c'était vraiment récent. Ça faisait partie des concerts sans souvlaki. C'était un concert non concerto, puis c'est supporté par Mécénat Musica. Mais alors, c'était chez quelqu'un. Puis c'était supposé être dehors. Mais il y avait une grosse tempête qui a commencé comme la seconde que j'ai commencé à jouer. Alors là, on a décidé de peut-être le faire dans le garage, mais non, ça fonctionnait pas. Alors là, il y avait une porte avec un couloir à côté du garage. Puis c'était le seul moyen pour moi de jouer pas sous la pluie. Puis ma pianiste, Megan Milatz, était pratiquement dans le garage, à côté de moi. Alors, je pouvais pas la voir. On pouvait se voir comme dans la réflexion du piano. Alors ça, alors j'ai commencé, puis c'est comme si la tempête allait avec la musique. Il y avait pas beaucoup de pluie au début. J'ai commencé quelque chose de vraiment méditatif. Ça s'appelait Prayer and Dance of Praise. Puis quand je suis arrivée à la partie où c'est plus comme dancing, là, il pleuvait tellement. Puis à la fin, quand la seconde que j'ai fini, la pluie a arrêté aussi. Alors, c'est vraiment magique.
Wow. Qu'est-ce que tu aimes faire pendant tes temps libres?
Mon temps libre.
Si tu en as, si tu as du temps libre.
Ce que j'ai répondu dans le questionnaire, je pense, j'ai dit que j'aime passer du temps dans la nature. Puis c'est vrai, j'aime ça, aller dans des randonnées. La dernière randonnée que j'ai faite, c'était en Colombie-Britannique. J'ai fait 30 km de marche. C'était à peu près 6 heures pour monter la montagne. On est à 2150 mètres. Mais c'est tellement beau.
6 heures pour aller en haut, puis 6
Ah, pour aller en haut,
5 heures pour descendre, du coup?
ouais.
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 My God.
Mais sinon, qu'est-ce que je fais? J'aime ça manger.
Mais parlant de cuisine, c'est quoi le meilleur repas que tu as eu de ton enfance? Un repas
Mon enfance, ouais. Ça, c'est la tarte aux pommes de ma grand-mère.
Ah, wow.
En fait, c'est elle qui m'a enseigné le violon à 2 ans, puis je passais mes journées avec elle, alors elle m'apprenait comment faire des pâtisseries, puis elle faisait même comme elle m'enseignait comment jouer du violon en m'enseignant comment cuisiner aussi. Tu sais, comme quand on fouettait de la crème, il faut avoir le poignet très relax. Puis
Super. Et juste une dernière question. Si tu peux prendre un café avec un compositeur, ce serait qui?
ça serait, ben, j'y ai pensé longtemps, hein, parce que j'ai pensé, ah, ça pourrait être Schubert, ça pourrait être Bach. Mais en fait, ma sœur, une de mes sœurs, elle vit à Berlin, puis c'est une compositrice. Elle écrit ses propres chansons pour violoncelle. Elle vient juste de faire un album, puis je l'ai pas vue, ça fait depuis 2016, je pense. Alors, ouais, parce qu'elle est tellement loin, puis c'est dur de s'attraper un bon moment. Alors, j'aimerais vraiment aller prendre un café avec elle.
Absolument. Merci beaucoup, Isabella.
Merci.
On va enchaîner avec Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks.
Good. So, what is your favorite thing about your musical career?
Favorite thing, I would say, especially since coming back to Canada, a great recent thing that's happened is I'm a new member of a really amazing ensemble here in Toronto that our mission is to really uncover a lot of unknown repertoire, a lot of repertoire that was sort of suppressed for various reasons, political reasons, or just sort of faded away, and we really sort of bring that music back into the spotlight. So that it really is one of my absolute favorite things to do, just in general in music, is to really take music, often music that has no history or precedence for recording or anyone playing it, and really just making something completely brand new and something that is totally fresh and organic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You mentioned Mauritius, right? The islands of Mauritius.
Yes.
Is that where you grew up?
No, I was born here in Toronto, but my parents, they grew up there, and the generations before. I'm Chinese, clearly, but my grandparents' generation, they moved from China to l'île Maurice, and there's a big, actually, Chinese and Indian population there, and now there's actually a big Mauritian population in Canada, in Toronto, and now, of course, in Montreal, because of the French speaking.
Right.
So it's been good to be around that culture still in Toronto too.
Absolutely. What are 3 words that would describe you best?
3 words. I like to think I'm a little witty. Second one, I would say open-minded, and third, I would say I think I wrote pragmatic on the question, or just very practical in general. I try to be just as resourceful as possible.
Right. And do you remember why you chose your instrument?
For me, the piano, I think for lots of people, it just has such a wide, really infinite variety and array of colors, of sounds. It fits into every single pocket of music, of culture, of any sort of place in the world. The piano can really fit in, and all of those styles, and it's such a diverse instrument. So that's really what I love the most about it, is that it really can find its way into every place on the globe.
Right. And last question, what would you like to do during your free time?
Free time. Well, I love, especially now in the summer, it's amazing out. So I love biking around Toronto. It's a pretty good city. You have to be sort of safe sometimes in downtown, but there's some great spots around Toronto. I also watch pretty avidly, very intensely, a lot of tennis, a lot of ATP WTA tennis. Wimbledon just finished, and I think Olympics are coming up, which is amazing. So we'll see who'll come out victorious on that one under these obviously very special and different games. So we'll see.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate it. And we'll finish with Julia. Hey, Julia.
Hi.
Good. So do you have any pre-concert rituals that you always do the same routine before a concert?
I feel like it's changed with me as I've grown. Lately, a few seconds or maybe 10, 20 seconds before I go on stage, when my heart is beating the fastest, I've actually found that just like being loose and doing funny movements with my body is actually like the only thing that actually calms me down. So I'll try to go somewhere where people can't see me and just look like really funny for a minute or so, because it actually, I find, calms down my heart rate.
What's the best dish that you remember from your childhood?
I feel like this is something that I appreciate more now than I did before. But I come from a Russian family, and this is a dish that is not only Russian, it's in a lot of Slavic cultures, but it's called borscht. It is a beet-based soup, and it's loaded with vegetables, and it's extremely flavorful and very healthy. And it's kind of just a very comforting meal.
And if there's one advice that you would give to your younger self, what would it be?
It is just be patient with myself. There's something that I'm seeing that I don't think that I can achieve. I probably might to an extent at some point, and yeah, just to worry a little bit less. I still have to tell myself that today.
What's the most Canadian thing about you?
Well, actually, it's funny because right now I'm in the United States. I'm currently at the Yellow Barn Music Festival, and there aren't that many Canadians here, only a few. And I find that the Americans, especially, whenever I accidentally say the word "a," they really pick up on it. They always notice it. So whenever I accidentally sneak that into a sentence, like, "Oh, it's really hot out, eh?" Like they kind of rip me apart for it.
If we came over for dinner, what would you cook for us?
I'm still, discovering my own tastes, but probably something Italian. I love cheese and carbs. Something with tomato sauce and cheese and anything like that.
Amen. Very good. Last question. If you could have coffee with a composer, is there a composer that comes to mind?
Yes. Actually, his name is Nikolai Capustin. He is a modern composer who actually only just passed away last year. He is from Russia. His music is widely played, mostly for piano, but he wrote a violin and piano sonata. And his style is it's very virtuosic, but it's in the style of jazz. And I am a huge, huge jazz fanatic. I'm still learning how to improvise myself, but for now, notated jazz will do. And as I started learning a sonata, I think he was maybe just probably starting to not be well anymore. And I was thinking, oh, if I should get in touch with him, talk to him, and then he passed away. So I feel such remorse for not reaching out earlier. So I would have loved to have spoken with him.
Agreed. Such a wonderful composer. I didn't know that he just passed away. I thought so.
Yeah, in 2020, July. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you.
Donc, ça termine les questions de ma part. Je vais laisser Geneviève poser des questions du public.
Oui. So again, rapid fire speed round. Don't think about it too much, just whatever comes to mind. What do we have here? Okay, Vincent, do you have a favorite board game or computer game?
I play a lot of video games actually. So yeah, probably like I'm up to 2 a.m. playing video games all day, so every day. They're like I don't know, I play a lot of Call of Duty and NBA, 2K, NHL, all the sports games.
Okay, great. Good for dexterity, I guess. Um, Isabella, est-ce que tu te considères plus comme une personne matinale ou de soir?
Le soir, c'est sûr.
Ah. Julia, what's your favorite season?
Wow. Winter, I think. The holidays. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The
that's fair.
relaxation, the forced relaxation, I think.
Great. Kevin, name one thing that's still on your bucket list.
Bucket list. I mean, meet Beyonce, of course.
There you go. Simple as
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. Number one, absolutely.
Vincent, if you could have any animal in the world as a pet, which would it be?
I'm a standard guy. I mean, I would still choose dogs. I still love dogs. So.
Man's best friend. Gotta agree with that. Isabella, tu as mentionné que tu jouais à plusieurs instruments. Est-ce qu'il y a une raison pour laquelle le violon est resté particulièrement? Ben, l'alto aussi, mais...
Ben, le violon, j'ai commencé à 2 ans. Puis, honnêtement, le violon, c'est le plus proche c'est plus proche à ma propre voix. J'ai plus de facilité à m'exprimer à travers le violon, je pense, juste parce que j'ai passé plus de temps plus jeune. C'est ça. Puis je peux vraiment chanter à travers le violon. C'est drôle, il y a des gens qui disent que quand je chante, c'est comme un peu comme mon violon, puis quand je joue du violon, c'est un peu comme quand je chante.
Oh, intéressant. Julia, if a movie was based on your life, which actress would you like to be cast as you?
Maybe Natalie Portman?
Ooh, interesting. And Kevin, beaches or mountains?
Mountains for me.
Okay, what else do we have? Kevin, do you have a favorite book or a book that you've read recently?
Recently, I finished, recently, last year, I would say, The Goldfinch, really amazing, by Donna Tartt, a really amazing, wild, intense, crazy ride. I would highly recommend it.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. What else? Kevin, have you ever broken a bone, and how, if so?
In a way, very recently, yes, actually, a few months ago, I took a very unfortunate fall, and I actually, I think this isn't TMI, I snapped a couple of my teeth in half. And I in that process, I learned that your teeth are actually the strongest bone in your body. So I really went for the strongest one, and I did it. So
Challenge
that was a recent trauma, but I made it through.
Great. What else? Julia, last TV show that you really enjoyed?
Black Mirror.
Oh. Vincent, if you were a musician, what would you like to do for a living?
Well, when I quit music, I was about to enter my first semester in biochemistry, so I guess I was trying to become a pharmacist or something.
Oh, very interesting. And then I think we have a last one for Isabella. Do we? I thought I saw one. Oh, Isabella, une collation ou un snack préféré?
Honnêtement, ce qui me vient un peu vite comme ça, c'est le chocolat.
Ah, voilà.
C'est le chocolat.
Excellent. Great. So thank you everyone for participating in this rapid fire questions. We love to get to meet the humans behind the music. So that was great. And I think you've answered all the questions. Don't worry. But we have a video of the two other participants. So yeah, we'll show that now. Donc, si vous avez remarqué qu'on avait seulement 7 participants, demi-finalistes avec nous ce soir, c'est parce qu'il y en a 2 qui ne pouvaient pas être avec nous malheureusement, mais ils nous ont préparé une vidéo avec l'aide de Wonny et on va vous la présenter maintenant.
Hey, Jessica. You're
Hi.
good? Everything's okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, great. Listen, Jessica, can you just, I'm just gonna, is it recording? Yeah, perfect. So Jessica, just, I'd love for you to just describe yourself just in a couple of minutes for the public.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm 18 years old and I play the piano. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, but right now, as you can probably see, I'm in a hotel in Warsaw, Poland, for the preliminaries of the Chopin competition. I started to play the piano when I was 3 years old and decided to pursue it as a career because I like that a career in music would allow you to travel and it wouldn't confine you to doing the same thing for years because there's a lot of ways to apply a music degree. Speaking of this, I am currently going into my second year at the New England Conservatory, which I actually found out through a summer program just like Orford. Going to programs like Orford has really helped open my eyes to quite a few of these different options as a musician because I got to meet a lot of these musicians who are in different disciplines and professions. Outside of music, I really like art, reading, and playing video games a lot. And during the pandemic, there's definitely been enough time to relax and do these things, which was nice. But I think now is a really good time to get back into things in the music world, starting with the Orford Award.
So Leland, it's going to be your turn. So basically the same thing. I'd love for you to present yourself for our public.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leland Coe. I'm 23 years old from the Boston area. I'm a cellist, but currently in Putney, Vermont at a different festival. The scheduling's out of my hands, so that's why I can't attend the meeting with everyone else. I am an avid runner, a tennis player, and I love baking. Those are sort of, I'd say, some of the main pillars in my life. I think I just like to, music falls into this category too, but I just like to do things that really sort of involve either my body or my senses and maybe a little bit less of my brain. I think that's something those kinds of things I connect with a little bit more. Really happy to be part of the Orford Award this year. I've been to Orford twice, kind of every 2 years for the last, so 2019 and 2017. But I never got to perform much, so I'm really sort of looking forward this time to really play for the public and sort of connect in that way, and especially after the pandemic. Really looking forward to this.
So Jessica, if you could have coffee with any composer, who would it be?
Probably Chopin because, well, it might just be because these few years I've been playing so much of his music in preparation for this competition, but I think it would be really nice to hear his opinion on how his own music should be played so that we have a definitive, idea of what he intended in his compositions. For sure.
And I mean, you're performing at the Chopin competition right now. Are you nervous?
I think, it's my first real international competition, so yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, but I think things will go as they do, and I think I'm pretty excited to play as well in front of a live audience for sure.
And speaking of live concerts, is there any crazy place? What is the craziest place that you've performed in?
Um, I've heard some crazy stories about like outdoor performances and stuff, but I've never done anything like that. So probably like I just say it was pretty crazy to play in Carnegie Hall at one point. It was just a like two pieces, but it was really cool to see the historic concert hall like that.
And since you travel quite a bit for performing and everything, what is like one thing that you could travel that you can't travel without?
I'd probably say like a notebook and a pencil case. I don't know, it's pretty basic, but there's always things to, well, I mean, I personally I have a tough time keeping track of things, so it's just very useful for any and yeah, many different like occasions.
And in this notebook, if there's something that you like to write for your younger self, what would it be? Some sort of advice or anything?
Yeah, definitely. I would probably say I would tell them to be more patient with everything, because if I just slowed down a little bit to look at the details and everything, I would probably have done a lot better in many aspects of life.
Awesome. And last question: if you could travel in time, when would you go? Like, what period would you go and why?
Yeah. Uh, if I were to travel back in time, I'd probably go to like 400 BC or 700, 400 BC to see like ancient Greece. I think that'd be pretty cool. And if it was even further back, of course, the dinosaurs would be pretty nice too. um, and if I were to travel forward in time, it would be, I don't know, maybe just like a few hundred years in the future to see if we're still around.
So thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank you.
Great. So that's perfect, Jessica. Perfect. Great job. So it's going to be Leland. You ready? So Leland, apparently you're a wonderful cook. So if I came over for dinner, man, what would you cook for me?
I think I'd be more interested to see what you wanted to have for dinner, but I think for savory I'd leave that up to you. But for sweet, I think I've made a lot of friends over the years with cinnamon buns, so I think I'd have to bake some cinnamon buns. Yep.
You always go in with the sweet tooth, so
always.
Speaking of performance, do you have any like concert rituals? A lot of musicians do before a concert.
Yeah, I try to get in a run on days that I perform, just to kind of get used to my heart rate speeding up a lot. If there's some form of chocolate, I know like I'd like to have a little bit of chocolate before I go out on stage, but if there's no chocolate around, I'll maybe look for chocolate milk, like anything chocolate flavored. I know that's kind of weird.
Or maybe one of your sweet buns. That's
yeah.
That could work. Is there an important day of your life that you remember? It's like some kind of experience that that you could kind of share with us.
I'm trying to remember what this was sort of right before the pandemic really hit. I think a lot of people kind of remember that time, but for me, the club tennis team at my college, my senior year, and we'd finally made it after 4 years to the championship match of like the sectional tournament. We were trying to qualify for nationals, and a good friend of mine and I, she's also a cellist actually, but we were playing tennis together. We won the final match together to send us to nationals. Nationals didn't happen because of the pandemic, but she and I, we still get really hyped up every time we talk about that match. And it's sort of, anytime I feel like I need to like get in the zone, or like, especially with performing, like try and do something that like I want to make it count, I think about that match and sort of just being focused and in the moment, that kind of way. Yeah.
And you're a cellist. How do you choose your instrument growing up?
Um, I d- my mom chose it for me. I was 3 at the time. My younger brother, or older brother, jeez, sorry, my older brother plays the violin, and I used to sit in on the back of his lessons. And at one point, my mom asked my brother's violin teacher, "Can I get the younger one started on an instrument sometime soon?" And my brother's violin teacher's advice was, "Sure, pick any instrument but the violin." So here I am on the cello. Not much by choice, but I'm happy with it.
And last question, if you were to have a coffee with a composer, who would it be and why?
Can I give 2 answers?
Go for it.
First would be Haydn, because apparently he knew how to have a fun time and have a laugh. Um, and the other would be Schubert, because he seemed like somebody who would be hard to pin down to get a cup of coffee with, because he's quite shy, and I'd just be interested to get
Awesome.
out his brain a little bit. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Leland. Well, thank you to Jessica and Leland Co. This concludes today's Tête-à-tête. So thank you so much to all of you participating. And we're looking forward to seeing you all on the 9th of August, the week of the 9th of August. Alors, merci beaucoup à vous tous d'être ici avec nous. Ceci conclut notre tête-à-tête. Je tiens à remercier nos nombreux donateurs pour ce concours: Canimex, municipalité d'Orford, Madame Claude Oman, Monsieur Serge Martin et toutes les entreprises qui sont associées à nos finalistes. Sans votre aide, ce concours n'aura pas le même attrait. Alors donc, merci beaucoup. Je vous invite tous naturellement à la semaine de compétition. Les demi-finales se tiendront le 9, 10 et 11 août et la grande finale aura lieu le 14 août. Et le concours sera également diffusé en direct sur le web. Alors, ça n'a pas manqué. Et sur ce, bonne soirée à tous.